Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting episode of This Is Our Life. Okay, this is a review video. This is our little emergency radio. It has a light. Oh, actually, you have to forgive me. I woke up not too long ago. Yeah, it's a pretty good light there. This is the crank to power it up. etronicorp.com. It has a little antenna. It's not a very big antenna. Like I said, it's a little antenna. Maybe 9 inches. It has a solar charger up top. It has AM and FM. And it has weather band. Now this doesn't have shortwave. Okay? It doesn't have shortwave. But this is for the right here. This is to move to change the channels, the stations. This popped off. There should be a little thing like this right here. It popped off. This is the on-off. Trying to turn it off when you don't have the Oh my goodness, a great white took a bite out of this lady's kayak, or sea kayak. Oh my, knocked both of them into the water. Anyway, this is difficult to turn on and off without the little knob. This is a Eton, Eton NFR 160 WXB Microtalk self-powered AM/FM NOAA weather radio with flashlight, solar power, and cell phone charger, black. I'll actually provide you a link. Now, also has this little cord here. About the only place you would really have to hang it would be like that, but this is not something I would put on the outside of a bug out bag. I would definitely put this inside, because this is something somebody might see and say, I want that, and go after you for it. Now, I had this on the other night, but I think a lot of the reason I wasn't really able to pick much up is because of where we live. I don't think it has anything to do with the quality. I think the quality is just fine. Because even on the stereo over here, the radio in the car, we cannot pick up many radio stations. We live in a rural area, and it's not just that it's rural. I mean, in Texas, when I lived in the hill country, I was actually able to pick up the radio stations out of Houston sometimes. Not often, but I was able to. I would listen to CBS Radio Mystery Theater in the hill country off of a radio station in Houston. But you have to consider the terrain in Texas. From the hill country to Houston, it's mostly flat, except for the hill country, of course. If it would have been flat where I lived, I probably would have been able to pick up that station just fine. But we live in a very hilly and mountainous region with very dense forest. So radio waves just are not going to travel all that far up here. Um, you can also hook up an earphone. I don't know if you could. It has a little plug. You can put an earphone in there. As like I said, as well as you could charge your cell phone. It has the solar. It has the short antenna, the flashlight. Of course, it has this button right up here. You don't really have to push down all that hard, and you just push it. See? Whoops. It's not, you're not really having to exert any real power. The solar, the charger. It doesn't make. I mean, you can hear it when you're cranking it, but it's not real loud. So, would I recommend this? Yes, I definitely would recommend this radio. It would be nice if I could get we could get a replacement for that little knob, because what you have to do now is you have to listen to hear the click when you.
Be quiet. Look, it'll start. Hush!
So I'm using this to get a grip, but that's our bug out bag radio. That's our emergency radio. One point I want to make about bug out bags, which I've made before, is a bug out bag is not just for if the economy falls apart. If lucky.
Be quiet.
It's not if the economy falls apart, or the government puts troops out into the streets or anything like that. A bug out bag is for Hurricane Katrina, the 1900 hurricane in Galveston. What happened in California with the Northridge earthquake? What happened? Was it Washington or Oregon with the volcano in the 80s? Mount St. Helens. If the New Madrid fault has a quake, it's for emergencies. It's not just for oh, you're a bunch of paranoid preppers. Well, I am a paranoid prepper, so there you go. But Lucky, there's no food up there. Look. My goodness, Lucky. It's an empty bowl. Yeah, it's empty, isn't it? Yeah, there's food. You have food and your food and cat food. Anyway, so a bug out bag is for any kind of emergency. For us,
don't start.
For here where we live, one issue would be winter emergencies, because we could have a severe ice storm. We could have a blizzard.
Be quiet.
Now, a blizzard we probably wouldn't leave. We'd probably stay in place. Maybe after the blizzard we might need to leave, but if there were a severe ice storm, if there were a severe snowstorm, maybe we didn't get the worst of it, but it knocked out power to us, even though the storm happened, the most severe part of the storm happened elsewhere. we might need to leave to get to food, to get to running water, to get to warmth. Uh, another type of emergency that I don't think a lot of people think about, when tanker trucks and tanker cars on trains, they explode, they derail, they crash. I remember in Houston in early mid 70s, there was some sort of tanker truck that crashed, and I don't remember the chemical it had in it, but oh boy. I mean, it's like for years after that, everybody was talking about it. People died, and entire areas of the city were off limits because, again, you have to remember what that area, it's flat. So if there's a breeze, it's going to carry that stuff a long ways. Now up here, it might not carry it so far, so it might be able there. We could be closer to an incident like that and not have to evacuate. But I remember in San Antonio, there was it didn't happen in San Antonio, but it happened somewhat close, where some tanker cars either derailed or blew up, and people died, and other people had to evacuate. So there are a lot of reasons to have a bug out bag, not just for the paranoid prepper, you're a paranoid prepper kind of thing. Well, nobody really needs one of those. Yeah, well, think about Hurricane Katrina, think about Northridge earthquake, think about all those sort of things. And in Katrina, if it weren't for the levees breaking and the water going over the levees as well, then maybe things would not have been so bad. But I don't think the majority of people expected things to be that bad. But once they got that bad, people were pretty much trapped unless they had a means to get out. Most people didn't. So because you have to have I mean, you're gonna just walk out. Some people did that. Some people tried that and didn't survive. Some people did it and they did survive. So it's better to be prepared. And you can take your bug out bag, put it in a couple of garbage bags, try and put some air in there and tie it up real tight, and maybe it'll float for you. But anyway, that's the main point was this.